What happens when a country music superstar and a respected television host clash over artistic freedom on live TV? The tension inside Studio 1A was so thick you could almost feel it in the air. Carrie Underwood sat across from Sheinelle Jones on the Today Show couch, her perfect smile beginning to fade as a simple morning interview turned into one of the most shocking live walkouts daytime television has ever seen. Before we dive into this unbelievable story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments what you think about stars standing up for their beliefs, even when it might cost them. The morning started like any normal press appearance. Carrie arrived at Rockefeller Plaza bright and early at 6:30 a.m. Her glam team had already worked their magic: flawless skin, soft curls, and that calm, confident glow she's known for. She was there to talk about her new album, a very personal project that explored her faith, family, and the constant fight to stay true to herself in the ever-demanding music industry. Her publicist had gone over everything with her. The questions were supposed to be simple and light, focusing on her creative process, tour dates, and life at home. Sheinelle Jones, known for her friendly interviews and genuine curiosity, had her own list of questions ready. But as she sat in the makeup chair that morning, something in her approach changed. Maybe it was because of the recent debates in country music about artists taking sides on social issues, or maybe she was just tired of shallow celebrity interviews. Whatever it was, Sheinelle decided she wasn't going to keep things surface level this time. The cameras rolled at 8:15 and everything started smoothly. Carrie smiled warmly as Sheinelle welcomed her, mentioning her journey from American Idol champion to one of the biggest names in country music. They talked about her new single, her family with her husband Mike Fisher, and her plans for her tour. Both women seemed relaxed, chatting easily like old friends. Then Sheinelle's tone shifted ever so slightly. "You know, Carrie," she began, her voice calm but focused, "your new album seems to touch on some deep themes. There's a lot about being true to yourself in an industry that wants to shape you. Can you talk more about that?" Carrie's smile stayed steady, but something flickered in her eyes. "Well, Shell, I think every artist faces that struggle between staying authentic and fitting into what's expected. This album came from a place of wanting to share my truth, no matter what's trending or what people expect to hear." "That's interesting," Sheinelle said, leaning in slightly. "Because lately, there's been a lot of talk in country music about artists who claim they want authenticity but avoid controversial topics. Some critics say real authenticity means being brave enough to take a stand, even if it divides your fans." The change in Carrie's body language was small but noticeable. Her shoulders stiffened just a bit, and her polite smile tightened. "I'm not sure what you mean, Sheinelle. I've always been open and honest about who I am and what I believe in through my songs." "Of course," Sheinelle replied with a nod, though her tone hinted that she wasn't entirely convinced. "But let's talk specifics. Your song Stand Still. Some listeners think it's about faith and perseverance, but others say it's about social movements. The line about standing firm when the world wants you to kneel caused quite a bit of online discussion." Carrie's jaw tightened slightly. "Music is personal, Sheinelle. People will always see lyrics through their own experiences. I write from my faith and what I feel. If others connect with it in their own way, that's what makes art special." "But don't you think," Sheinelle pressed, "that with a platform as big as yours, there's a certain responsibility to be clear about what you mean, especially when your lyrics touch on sensitive topics?" The air grew heavier. Crew members glanced at each other. Carrie's publicist, standing off camera, shifted uneasily. Carrie took a deep breath. "I think my only responsibility is to be honest with myself. I'm a singer, not a politician. My job is to make music that reflects my heart, not to make statements to please or upset people." Sheinelle nodded, but didn't back off. "I understand that, but in today's world, even silence can be seen as taking a side. When you have such a wide audience, people with different beliefs and backgrounds, don't you think you're part of the conversation, whether you like it or not?" Carrie's patience was starting to slip. Her hands tightened slightly around the armrest of the couch. You know what, Sheinelle? I came here to talk about my music, not to have my songs dissected like political speeches. I'm here as an artist, not a spokesperson for anyone's cause. Sheinelle stayed calm, her journalist instincts taking over. I completely understand, and I don't want to make you uncomfortable, she said. But people look up to you, Carrie. They take your words seriously. Don't you think they deserve to know where you stand? Carrie's voice rose just a little. My songs speak for themselves. I sing about faith, love, heartbreak, and life. If someone wants to twist that into politics, that's not on me. That's on how people see the world today. The camera zoomed in as the atmosphere grew more charged. Carrie's tone hardened, while Sheinelle kept her composure, though her eyes stayed sharp. Let's talk about your song Higher Ground, Sheinelle continued. You mentioned building walls of faith and protecting what's sacred. Given what's happening politically, did you ever think those words might sound like a message about something else? Carrie gave a short, humorless laugh. So now, I can't sing about spiritual protection without people assuming I'm talking about politics. That's the problem, Sheinelle. Everyone's looking for hidden meanings instead of just feeling the music. Higher Ground is about rising above negativity, not about borders. I get that's your intention, Sheinelle replied evenly. But sometimes intention and impact don't match. When fans share those lyrics online alongside political posts, doesn't that make you feel like you should clarify? That question hit a nerve. Carrie shifted in her seat, her composure fading. My job isn't to babysit how people interpret my songs. My responsibility is to create from the heart. If I had to worry about every possible misunderstanding, I'd never be able to write at all. Sheinelle leaned back, still calm, but relentless. That's fair. But your newer songs, Draw the Line, No Compromise, they sound bolder than your earlier work. Are you consciously being more outspoken now? Carrie's voice sharpened. And what if I am? Maybe I'm tired of pretending. Maybe I'm done walking on eggshells to make everyone comfortable. You want authenticity. Well, this is it. Maybe the real me isn't what everyone expects. The studio went completely still. Even the crew seemed frozen. Carrie's publicist was now pacing nervously near the edge of the set. Sheinelle, sensing she'd hit a sensitive spot, pushed again. So you're admitting you're being more direct, less concerned about how it's received? Carrie's eyes flashed. Direct? You call it confrontational when a woman stands up for herself. I've spent years being told to smile, to be sweet, to not cause trouble. Maybe I'm done with that. Sheinelle tried to keep her tone steady. I respect that truly, but with great influence comes great responsibility. People listen to your words. They take them to heart. That was the breaking point. Carrie stood suddenly, the movement making the entire studio pause. And there it is, she said, voice trembling but strong. This idea that I'm responsible for how strangers interpret my art, that I should censor myself to fit everyone's comfort zone. That's not what music is about. Carrie, please, Sheinelle said, staying seated. That's not what I meant. I just think clarity helps your fans. Clarity? Carrie interrupted, her frustration spilling out. Here's some clarity. I'm done being treated like a product you can pick apart for ratings. I came here to share my music, not defend my soul. Her voice shook slightly, but her words cut deep. Sheinelle tried to steer things back. Let's just take a step back. We can talk about your tour, your creative process. Carrie laughed bitterly. No, Sheinelle, this is exactly the problem. You call this a conversation, but it's a trap. You pretend to celebrate my work, then twist it into controversy. You call it journalism. I call it manipulation. Sheinelle looked genuinely uncomfortable now, realizing the situation was spiraling. Carrie, that's not fair. Oh, it's fair, Carrie snapped. You talk about responsibility, but where's yours? You want me to justify my songs to fit your narrative. That's not discussion, that's control. The camera stayed locked on them as Carrie's emotions overflowed. My fans don't need you to explain my music. They understand it. They feel it. They know me better than any interviewer ever could. The studio was silent, except for Carrie's steady breathing. Her publicist moved closer, ready to end it. Sheinelle's calm mask slipped slightly. Carrie, please, I wasn't trying to attack you. I just think artists with your reach. Privilege, Carrie interrupted coldly, catching the word Sheinelle had almost said. You think I'm privileged? You think I don't face consequences? Her eyes were sharp now. I've been picked apart for everything I've ever done. My clothes, my songs, my faith, my marriage. Too country, too pop, too political, not political enough. And through all that, I've tried to stay graceful. But apparently that's not enough, Shah.